Hello and welcome to HIM Tutorials once again. It's me Poonam and I am here to help you in your online study. Chapter 1 Nutrition in Plants is going on and we are doing the subtopic Heterotrophic Mode of Nutrition. In the previous video we have done Autotrophic Mode of Nutrition and now we are going to do the Heterotrophic Mode of Nutrition. For today the learning objectives would be we will learn about the different types of modes in plants. Mainly the heterotrophic modes of nutrition in the plants. Okay, so we know that green plants are capable of maintaining their own food, making their own food, so that's why they are called as autotrophs. But those organisms, mainly the animals and non-green plants, they are not capable of making their food, so that's why they are called as heterotrophs. Okay, and if they are heterotrophs, so the mode of nutrition which they can go for, that is called as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, and so heterotrophs are those organisms which are not capable of preparing their own food. They depend upon the other plants or they are dependent upon the animals for their food. Okay, on the basis of the type of food which the plants going to have to fulfill the need, mainly the non-green plants, we are going to categorize the plants into four main categories. Okay, the first one is parasitic plants. The second one is symbiotic plants. Third one are the HETEROTROPHIC plants. They are also called as saprophytes. Okay, and the last one are the insectivorous plants. Now we will go for the first type. Okay, so the parasitic plants are those plants which have their food from the other plants. Okay, they are mainly non-green plants but they have their food from the green plants. So the green plants which provide food to the parasitic plant, that is called as host, and from the body of host the non-green plant is having its food, so that non-green plant is called as parasitic plants, because it is having its food from where? From the host body. Okay, and this parasitic plant, if going to have its food from the host body, then it's a big question that how in what way the parasitic plant is going to have from the host body. So in the parasitic plants the roots are developed into special types and they are called as the hostoria. And these hostoria, they penetrate into the body of the host, especially into the vascular bundle. We know that vascular bundle is made up of xylem and phloem. Xylem provides water, okay, and phloem provides food in the plant body. So the parasitic plants have special type of roots in them which is called as hostoria, and these hostoria, they penetrate into the body of host, and in the host the vascular bundle is present which is having xylem and phloem, and these hostorias penetrate deeply into the vascular bundle and have water from the xylem and food from the phloem. Okay, now these parasitic plants are categorized into two types. They may be total parasites and they may be partial parasites. Total parasitic plants are those which depend upon the body of host for both the things, for water also and for food also. Okay, and partial parasitic plants are those which can make their own food but depend upon the body of host for the water. If we write an example for the total parasitic plant, then we can go for the cuscuta, which is also called as amarbale. It just penetrates its hostoria into the body of the host green plant and have its food and water both from the body of the host. Okay, and if we go for the partial parasitic plant, then we can go for the mistletoe. And mistletoe is having green leaves, so it can make its food, but for the water it penetrates its hostorias into the body of the host and have the body from the xylem of the host plant. Okay, now the largest one, there is one largest parasitic plant which is having the largest parasitic flower, and that is Rafflesia. This Rafflesia was discovered by Sir Stamford Raffles, and due to the Raffles the name was assigned as Rafflesia, and it has a diameter, this flower has a diameter of up to 106 centimeters and it can weigh up to 10 kg. So such a big flower it is, but it smells so bad, it smells like a rotten meat. Okay, so this is all about the parasitic plants, and now we will move towards the symbiotic plants. If we go for the symbiotic plants, second category, symbiotic plants. So symbiotic plants are those plants which in which the two organisms live with each other in a friendly behavior, in a mutual relationship, and both benefit each other. What is there? Both organisms benefit each other. And if we exemplify them, the best example of the symbiotic plant is lichen. And lichen is a combination of two organisms. One is alga and second one is fungus. What alga is doing? Alga is preparing food because it is autotrophic because it can photosynthesize. Okay, and fungus is just absorbing minerals and water and giving shelter to the alga. So both are benefiting each other. And one very important fact about the lichen is this: it is very good indicator of the pollution. If your area is pollution free, it has number of lichens grown on the trees and big rocks and stones and many things. Okay, but if the lichen quantity is less, it means the number of pollutants are more in the air. So it's a very good indicator of the air pollution. Now the second example, if we go in the symbiotic plant, we can have leguminous plants. And we know this, that these leguminous plants, these are the pulses which we eat, like gram, peas, and they have a special kind of roots in them, and these roots have got nodules, and in those nodules there is presence of a bacteria. And this is bacteria Rhizobium leguminosarum. We have discussed it earlier also, that this bacteria will live inside the root nodules of the plant. Okay, and this bacteria will just convert the atmospheric nitrogen into the nitrates, and these nitrates combine with the water and they are absorbed by the roots, and when the roots absorb the nitrates, that combine with the glucose which is formed in the photosynthesis in the leaves. Okay, formed by the photosynthesis in the leaves, and this glucose, when combined with the nitrates, they will lead to the formation of proteins. Okay, now the third type is the saprotrophic plants, also called as saprophytes. So saprophytic plants or saprotrophic plants are those which have their nourishment from the dead decay plant and animal matter. Okay, so they have their nourishment from dead and decaying matter. So what they are doing? They are just growing on the body of dead decay plant and animal. They releases the digestive enzymes on their body, and that digestive enzymes will transform the complex form of the body into the simple form, and when it is transformed into simple form, then this simple form is get absorbed by the body of the saprophytic plants. And if we go for the examples, then many bacterias and non-green plant like mushroom, these are the good examples of the saprotrophic plants or saprophytes. Now the last one, that is the insectivorous plants. So if we go for the insectivorous plants, so these plants are really very amazing. Why? Because they eat insects. Now it's very unnatural that how can a plant eat insect, because it doesn't have mouth. But these insectivorous plants are green plants, but they grow in such a soil which is deficient in nitrogen, and if a soil is deficient in nitrogen, then what happen? These plants are not capable of forming what? These plants are not capable of forming what? Proteins. And if they are not capable of forming proteins, then if any other animal eat those plants, then protein content will not be fulfilled. Okay, so these plants want to fulfill the protein content in their body, because we know that proteins are the body building food. They are helpful in making the new cells in the body. Okay, so this nitrogen deficient soil is having with the insectivorous plants, and what they do to just increase the content of nitrogen or increase the content of proteins in the body, they eat the small insects and small animals. Some insectivorous plants are such dangerous that they can eat lizards, they can eat rats, they can eat frogs, small creatures also. Okay, so if we exemplify them, then very good example is pitcher plant, then sundew, bladderwort, and one more example if you want to write, then it is Venus flytrap. If I go for a simple diagram of the pitcher plant, okay, then for example, this is a plant and this is a leaf, and from the leaf apex such kind of a structure arises, and this structure has a lid on its mouth, and inside this pitcher there is presence of digestive juices, and there are hairs on its body. When any small insect enter inside the pitcher, this lid just closes up, and when this lid closes up, that small creature traps inside the body of this pitcher, and it just enter into the digestive juices. Now this digestive juices system is with the all. Okay, mode of nutrition may be different, but this digestive juices is almost having with all the insectivorous plants. They just secrete the digestive juices, and the complex form of the protein in the body of that organism just transformed into the simple form, and that is absorbed by the body of the plant. Like this, they will just you can say replenish their nitrogen content in the body. Okay, so let's recap very quickly about all the things we have discussed about the heterotrophic mode of nutrition in plants. Especially heterotrophic mode of nutrition is having with those plants which are non-green, and especially the animals are also heterotrophic because they depend upon the plants for their food. But we are just discussing the plants. So 4 types of plants we have discussed: parasitic, symbiotic, saprotrophic, and the insectivorous. Parasitic plants are those which depend upon the body of the host. They have their food from the body of the host with the help of Haustoria. They are of 2 types: total parasitic, partial parasite. Total parasite is having example of Cuscuta, Amarbale. Apodanthes is also example of this total parasite. Partial parasite is exemplified by the mistletoe, and the largest flower parasitic flower present on this earth is of Rafflesia. It was discovered by Sir Stamford Raffles. It is up to 106 centimeter in diameter and 10 kg in weight, and it's just smell like a rotten meat. Okay, and if we go for the second, that is the symbiotic plants, then lichens are the very good example of it, and both the alga and fungus are just living with each other mutually friendly and benefiting each other. And leguminous plants is what the leguminous plant is doing. Leguminous plant is having nodules, and nodules is having bacteria. So leguminous plants is providing protection and food to the bacteria, and on the other hand bacteria is benefiting the leguminous plant by fixing the atmospheric nitrogen into the nitrates, and these nitrates combined with the water, and water and nitrates both absorbed by the roots and given to the plants, and plants is having glucose. Glucose combines with the nitrates and it will form the proteins, which is a body building food. Now the third, we go for the saprotrophic plants, and it is the having their nutrition from the dead decaying matter. Mainly the bacteria and mushrooms are examples of it. And if we go for the fourth type, that is insectivorous plants. In insectivorous plants, they are of green color, but they grow in such a soil which is deficient in nitrogen. If there is no nitrogen, no proteins will be formed. So to make the proteins in the body, what they do, they just eat up little organisms and insects to fulfill the need of the nitrogen in their body. Okay, examples are pitcher plant, sundew, bladderwort, Venus flytrap, and number of examples are there. So this is all about your heterotrophic mode of nutrition in plants. So I hope you learn all the things very easily. So up to our next video, keep watching, keep learning. Thank you so much.